All right, guys, we're here to talk about Daredevil, and we're now on season 2, and we're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of season 2. We're going to tell you guys what we thought about it after this. I clicked on it like twice, so it took a second. We're learning a little bit of a new recording studio, but how's everybody doing? We're on season 2 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite season of Daredevil.
Some good stuff. Some good stuff.
Oh,
man.
yeah, definitely some good stuff. I think, obviously we're going to talk about it because he does get introduced, but introduction to Punisher in this series, I think, brings a lot to the table.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the dynamics and everything that's going on. All right, so we had Daredevil season 2, episode 1 called The Bang or Bang. And it just starts off with some hooligans out there stealing from some folks, got like diamonds or something like that, and they're running. Of course, Daredevil takes them out one by one. They kind of split off, so he takes them out one at a time. Then he finally saves a girl because one of them grabs a girl so he can try to use her for a shield. But Daredevil does this thing, takes him out, and we see him standing on top of the building looking down. And that's the code open to start the second season. Did y'all like that? I thought it was pretty good myself.
Yep.
I think it's a really cool way to introduce what Daredevil is sort of doing now that Fisk is behind bars and that he's still out there doing stuff like this. And yeah, there's some cool moments in there. I like how they go into that church and with the guy's got the girl and he's holding her as a shield, and Daredevil just takes him out without and frees the girl basically, and that's who the
Yeah.
cops find is the girl with the guy knocked out. So I thought it was cool.
Got anything first or?
I love him, man. I like how, I know, because he's evolving. They gotta find somebody else to mess around and I just love how they introduce everybody, how they reintroduce Daredevil, and how because now this is his domain, like it's his domain. I also like how New York, if you really think about it, New York has each borough has a superhero. So
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen got, I don't know where Hell's Kitchen is. I think it's in Queens. Hell's
It's in
Kitchen,
Manhattan.
Manhattan. Okay, so it's Manhattan. So Hell's Kitchen, a specific part of Manhattan or Manhattan in general, has Daredevil. Brooklyn got Spider-Man, and
Queens has got Captain America.
Queens got Captain America. Jersey got Captain Marvel. Shout out to Jersey.
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. Sorry, not Captain Marvel. Ms. Marvel. So it's a very northeastern centric. There's a bunch of superheroes there. I don't know if there's a superhero in the Bronx or Harlem got Luke Cage. Harlem got Luke Cage. Yeah, and then the Bronx. I don't know. I don't know where Static.
I don't know if there's a Marvel superhero in the Bronx. I feel like there is, and I just don't know it.
Could be. I just like how New York, and I like how Marvel's like we're gonna go New York. We're not gonna create a fake city like Metropolis or Gotham City. It's like no, it's New York. Yeah. It's New York, and they all have a superhero in a borough, and so it's just people in masks running around beating up people.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because it's such a heavily populated area, for one, and for two, obviously, it's got a bunch of crime. I mean, that's just, anytime you have a big city, it's going to have more crime than some other places. But I mean, it kind of would have been cool though to have them spread out across America. If you think about that, like somebody's like kind of Chicago stuff, somebody's doing like Detroit, somebody's doing like LA stuff like that. Kind of have them spread out across the board. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how they have a lot of them in the same city. Maybe that just makes it easier to depict, you know what I'm saying? Because you got the one city, main city that you kind of focus around. So maybe that makes it easier for them. But after that cold open, we get introduction to Matt Murdock and his friend Foggy and stuff like that talking. And we also see like how far they've gotten with their practice, how far they've gotten with their law practice. And not very far. They're not making shit tons of money. They're getting paid in bananas and
hey man, they're up.
They
used to get paid $0. Now they get bananas
and strawberry rhubarb.
And strawberry rhubarb. So it's from nothing to that. You're just going up, baby. Just going.
I think it's fine, but I would say that I don't know how big of a gap. Maybe this isn't like a big gap at all, right? Like maybe this is just like a couple of weeks or a month down the road from season 1. But I would say that like they did help take down one of the biggest like threats to the city. So it seems like, especially being a defense attorney, they would all of a sudden start getting some of these guys. Now, obviously, they may start getting people trying to get them to help them out. That's actually bad. You know, they're trying to get off. Like, oh, these guys are good. I need to get them. Out of trouble. So obviously, they're not trying to do that. They're trying to just help people that need help. So it kind of makes sense for them not to be making like crap tons, but it seems like they might have been making more. Then we get into a scene with some of the new bad guys that's going to be taking up the power vacuum that's left because Fisk is in jail. And they're having a discussion over like some beer, wine. It looks like all kinds of other shit. But they're talking about how they're going to take everything back. And then they started getting
the Irish
taken
mob.
out. The Irish mob. And they start getting their ass taken out. Only one of them survives at this whole scene, which was about like 12, 15 people. Every one of them gets taken out. We don't know as show watchers at the time. But further on, we find out that was actually the Punisher taking them out.
Yeah, man, he just slaughters the man. He just
yeah, because everyone else thinks it's some new crew that's in town taking everyone out.
Yeah.
Now, I will say about this, like I get why they did it, so this isn't really me complaining about it or whatever, because I understand, you know, you kind of want that scene to kind of linger a little bit more, and you know have there was a bunch of shots and stuff like that. But I would say that it. As far as shots being taken from outside the window, because we don't get to see who it is doing it at this time in the show, but it was just like a bunch of shots, but not really super accurate. And it's like, oh man, the Punisher's better than that. But like I said, I don't care. At the time, you don't know it's the Punisher, and they probably also did that because
it was probably one of those you know those big old assault like machine guns. You know which isn't based on accuracy. It's based on just the spray of bullets.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, but also, like I said, you don't want to give it away that it's some kind of marksman either. Like at this point in the show, because you haven't actually introduced the character. So, like I said, it's nothing bad. It was just something that I kind of noticed as I watched it. But no
said, like, what kind of bullets is he using? Because it's going through their bulletproof vests.
Oh yeah, he's high-powered bullets definitely getting done.
Yeah,
definitely armor-piercing rounds. You know,
yeah. Before we continue, I just want to say we got that backwards. Spider-Man is from Queens. Captain America's from Brooklyn.
Yes, that's what I thought.
But this scene is brutal. It's a great introduction to how like efficient, I guess you could say, the Punisher is when he wants to kill a group of people. And the just like listening to the cops in the scenes that follow when the cops find everybody, just like talk about what the hell happened here. They're so confused by what could have gone down and who could have done it. I just find it a really intriguing way to introduce him as a character, because we find out how deadly he can be without ever seeing him.
Right. Mm-hmm. And another thing I'll point out too is that's why I'm saying I'm not making a big deal. It was just something that I kind of noticed was like, you also could say that he was missing on purpose in a lot of cases. So there was a shit ton of bullets so that, obviously it threw him off the trail.
Make them
think that like,
more than
there's
one.
A bunch of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was just taking them out, headshot, they'd be like, holy shit, there's some crazy ass marksman out here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but then we go to the scene where we have the people at the law firms all getting together, Karen, Foggy, and Matt Murdock. They're all like having a little good time shooting pool and stuff like that. And then the one guy that did survive, he shows up and he's there.
Rado.
And they have a discussion, and he's like begging them for help, like, "Hey, I got to get your help," and everything else. And it seems like he's a guy that he just wants to get out. Like, he's making it seem like he was pressured into all this, like peer pressure kind of stuff. That he had no choice, but now
definitely a lie.
Yeah, that we find out definitely that's going to end up being a lie. But that's what we have there. We have that guy trying to get their help, and looks like they're going to help him. Now he was badly injured, so just after he got through talking to him, he passes out from blood loss or whatever. So they have to get him to a hospital or whatnot, and that's where we end that scene. That's pretty much all with that. I
I
will
like
say,
that scene though.
yeah, no, I do like that scene too. And now I was gonna say real quick is they had the jokes and stuff at the beginning of the episode where he's like, I can't take a night off. I did find it a little weird that it seemed like the very next night he's like hanging out with all of them and everything. Maybe he's trying to appease Foggy a little bit. That's what you could say. So I'm not saying it's like a plot hole or anything like that, but I am saying he did joke, I can't take a night off. And Foggy's like, you never come out with me. But then the very next scene, we see them together like this, and they're all like at a bar, like hanging out.
Yeah. Some important developments in that scene. We see Karen teaching Matt how to play pool. They seem very close and comfortable with each other, and she seems very interested in him. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Also, the way Matt just like knew that Grotto had a gun and was tapping his finger against the trigger was really cool to me. And I liked how he went over to talk to Grotto to just like see what was up with him and let him know this was a good place because he's thinking Grotto's gonna open fire in the bar. And
Yeah.
how Grotto goes, I'm looking for Nelson and Murdock. You must be the blind one. I thought it
Right.
was really cool.
No, yeah,
So
overall enjoyed the scene as well. Matt, you got anything to add about that?
No, just echo what Adelia said.
Right. So then we go to a scene where we have Foggy and Matt Murdock talking to their friend from the first season, the cop that was good and everything else. And
Sergeant Mahoney.
Sergeant Mahoney's over there. Looks like he's taking charge, but even though he's their friend, he's not just going to give them everything. He's going to try to follow the law like it's supposed to be. So he doesn't give them any information here. They're trying to find out some, but obviously, like Daredevil's just there to like hear people say stuff. He's not even wanting to really probably get information from that guy because he can get whatever he needs to get from listening to comms, with his really good hearing and everything else.
Yeah.
And because they show up to the scene where we had all the killings and stuff, and was trying to find information about that. We also have Karen like at the hospital with the guy they just met who was part of that slaughter. And there we go. That's about it with that, unless somebody's got something on it.
I liked Karen's cover story for
Oh,
Grotto.
yeah.
That
That
was
was
good.
funny.
And I do like Matt's super hearing. It's just always intriguing to me how he just learns things by listening.
Exactly, which a lot of people could do like in everyday life. But on top of that, I will say this is the right kind of like a lot of things in here are brutal in this show, but then they have moments like the opening scene we were talking about where the two buddies are walking next to each other talking about things, and even that scene here where there's a little bit of like not like, oh, I'm gonna laugh my ass off kind of funny stuff, but it is actually like still funny, and a little bit of a reprieve from that brutality, but I think they do it in a smart way that's more natural. When she tells the whole cover story like super fast and everything, that was kind of funny, made you smile kind of thing in the middle of a show that's about a lot of people dying. So, and I just think that's the right way to do it. That was a very good way. The writers throw in some things in there that you can enjoy that way without it having to be somebody being shot all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, then we go on to our friend. I have not learned his name yet. I'll eventually learn it, but the gentleman, Turk, is that his name?
Turk Barrett.
Oh, Turk. He's doing his thing. He's out here like trying to make some money. He got thrown in jail in the first season. Obviously, he got out. He didn't spend as long, but he didn't also do as much of the stuff that a lot of the others did. But he's already out of jail. But he's out there selling some shotties, slang term for shotguns. He's out there selling some shotguns to some fools. And all this, Daredevil shows up because he knows probably stuff that's going on that he hasn't found out yet. Mm-hmm. And they have a discussion after he gets through like beating some butt. And another like this, he's another part that's kind of like got the funny, like you can laugh and like kind of giggle at some of the things that goes on because he's just like, yo, man, I don't want to go, man. You done messed my hand up. Don't throw me in jail. And Daredevil like throws his keys in the water anyway. And he's like, man, I'm going to be out in a little while. Like, come on, man. Like, thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I really like Turk as like bad guy comic relief.
Yeah.
Like oftentimes in like these sorts of things, there's like the the good guy sidekick like Foggy that's comic relief, and you don't really get that from a villain character. Turk kind of is that, and I like the way that they use him in this show. And Daredevil got some good information from him.
Yes, he did. And then we had Foggy show up at the biker gang, and we just see him come in and ask. They all look at him menacingly, like we don't know what's going to happen. Then we follow Daredevil because he's following some of his leads and stuff. He found out something about a meat packing plant. When he arrives there, it's not very good. Not good at all. Of course, there's the meat hanging up there, but as he's walking by the big hunks of just normal everyday meat that you would see in a meat packing plant, he starts bumping into people that are just hanging there that are pure out dead. One guy's alive, and he pulls him off the meat hook, and that guy proceeds to tell him, because he's like, how, he's basically like, man, Daredevil says something about there being more than one, and this gentleman's like, they know it's one. He lets him know it's like one guy doing this. But yeah, man, that's pretty impactful and pretty like gruesome, pretty much, man. It reminded me of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene, basically. To be perfectly honest with you, which I liked, but I get some people like Brandi probably didn't like that part of that at all. But yeah, there's some dead bodies hanging on some meat hooks, man. Punisher does not play around.
No, Punisher does not play around. That scene is absolutely gross. I'm glad they didn't show us the scene that led to them being put on the meat hooks.
Right.
But Daredevil getting the one guy that's still alive down just grosses me out. But it's a really good, impactful scene. It shows again how brutal and deadly the Punisher is, and this is when we learn it's not the gang that everybody thinks it is, but one guy. And yeah, just gross.
One of the things I like about the show is whenever they go to Foggy, because he doesn't have these special talents, he's having to use just regular wits, brains, that kind of thing, information that he has. So, like, obviously, the biker gang's not happy. Comes to find out the guy he was looking for was dead. So they tell one of their guys to take him out, pretty much to kill him, and then Foggy's able to talk his way out of the situation with some of the information that he knows. He happens to bring up one of the guys saying, like, I helped that guy. And this dude's obviously a friend of his, or at least knows about him. So he ends up letting him go in the end after giving him a little bit of piece of information on some of the stuff that he knew about what was going on. So hopefully they can help. But yeah, I think it's cool that you have one of the characters going out there and doing some stuff, and actually all three characters in this episode's doing something. You got Karen watching over the guy to make sure he doesn't get taken out. Foggy's out there trying to get some on the boots ground type information and everything. But yeah, I really like these scenes because, like I said, it would be boring if it was just, to me, like, oh, just action packed every few seconds and none of this kind of stuff was happening.
Yeah.
I like that Karen, Matt, and Foggy all have the same sort of like aim for justice for these people and stopping the bad guys, but they all go about it in different ways. And that makes it interesting.
Yeah, totally agree. Then we have the hospital scene. Punisher is not hiding himself anymore. Just walks through the hospital and has got his weapon and stuff like that.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. Now, I will say this, like, he's the Punisher. He's technically a hero as well. He's just a different kind of hero that takes out the bad guys. Right. I call him a hero. None of this anti stuff. He's a straight up hero. No. But he goes in here, and obviously that's terrifying. He's going through there, and luckily Karen was able to notice what was going down. So she's like unhooks home dude, and they start running towards a car, and they eventually get away. And then it's basically the end of the episode because as the Punisher's doing whatever, Daredevil shows up, and you see them kind of get into
he's about to take a headshot on that dude.
That's right. They get into fisticuffs. And the episode ends with Punisher having him dead to rights. Punisher's laying on the ground, but he had his pistol and shoots Daredevil basically in the head. But the one thing I will say is I don't think it was intended to be a kill shot, because he obviously could have killed him right then with how close they were. And they even talk about it, I think, in the next episode a little bit. So it was kind of like, I'm going to graze him, kind of let him know, like, I could have took you out, but I didn't kind of situation.
I wouldn't call something that cracked his mask as badly as it did, as we find out in episode 2, a graze. Like, that was a headshot, kill shot. It just hit Matt's mask.
Yeah, but I think that Punisher knew that it wouldn't take him out. It would just, hurt him, take him out of the game, because he's not that type of person. Like, because as we find out in this next episode we're about to talk about, like, he doesn't like kill him when he has a chance for a second time. He just chains him up and then allows and actually interacts with discussions and stuff like that. So as we go on further in, but the point I'm trying to make here is that I don't think the Punisher was trying to kill him. I think the Punisher was trying to hurt him really bad, but I don't think he was trying to take him out, because he obviously could have done it easily right then.
I mean, true. He could have aimed for his heart or something. But, like, I still think a shot to the head is a kill shot. It just didn't crack his mask badly enough to actually get Matt in the head.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, I think Punisher knows about, like, Daredevil. Like I said, I think he knew about him. I think he, like, maybe even did some research on him. So I don't think he's going in there blind. I think he does think that Daredevil's got, like it wouldn't shock me to know that Punisher knew, like, maybe even where he got his suit and, like, what kind of suit it is and what it can do, kind of situation.
Maybe.
So I don't think he's going in blind, because he doesn't.
Well, obviously he'd know who Daredevil is, because Daredevil's been all over the newspapers and all that for the Fisk stuff. So it's not that he doesn't know who Daredevil is. I just don't know if he knows quite that level of stuff.
He may not, but like I said, I don't think. I think it would have been, if that was their goal to put it like that. I don't think it would have been a right. I don't think it would have been the right thing to do for the Punisher character, because he's not about that. He's brutal, but, like, he's not brutal to people that he doesn't think is, like, it's totally different. Like, he literally only tries to go after the people that he knows is guilty and knows have done bad things. Like I said, he does, like, his research on them and everything before he just goes out. He doesn't just, like, hear a rumor and go kill someone, right? Like, he usually has more information than that. So I'm looking at that as, like, he didn't actually try to kill Daredevil. He tried to injure him, tried to take him, like, out. When I say take him out, like, not take him out dead.
Yeah.
But get him out of his way. Injure him enough that, like, he won't be able to do it. Which I actually think this was a cool way to end the episode, because, like, in the second episode, which we're about to get into, like, we finally, like, the kryptonite for Daredevil is a concussion to that kind of, basically, because once his bell's rung like that, it, like, messes up all the senses. All right, you have anything to add there, Ferris? We're just finishing up episode 1.
I mean, it was tremendous, man. I really loved it, and how, like, the introduction and, the battle. And here's the two, like, he's not fighting some, like, rando straight thug, right? You clearly state that this man is definitely military trained, definitely trained in definitely some hand-to-hand combat, had a gun everywhere, and then, how did he not hear the gun? Because usually he like, how, like, when he was Grotto was at the bar, he told Foggy to stop talking. He's like, the man at the bar has a gun, and then Foggy's like, hey man, everybody here has a gun. But then he's like, yeah, but they're not tapping the trigger. Yeah. So he heard that. He heard it in his pocket. So, like, when he said, when he couldn't hear him pull the gun from his ankle and shoot him in the head, I was like, yo, something's wrong here, because you should have heard that, because you should have heard the grab and the click and the clang, and
he might have already had a concussion by that point.
Probably.
Yeah, that you got that, but you also have the fact that, like, when he's, like, chilling with his friends, there's not as much distraction. You got to think about it. He's in a full blown, pretty serious fight. So at that point in time, you're not able to concentrate on, like, the really small things, right? You're not able to he's probably not going to be able to hear, or even, like, with his kind of, like, however he sees, like, the gun, because he's in a fight for his life, because that was a good fight, right? Like, he ain't fighting some chump. So in that particular instance, you could look at it and go, oh, well, he's distracted. Like, he can't, like, focus on that and try to find that. Like, I think he even admits in this next episode that it was kind of a mistake. That he should have been able to know that he had the sidearm, and it was kind of like a dumb mistake. I think he like got distracted because of the fight.
Could be.
Yeah, could be.
All right. Well, we go to season 2, or season 2, obviously, but episode 2, which is Dogs to a Gunfight. The cold open of this one is Foggy shows up at the hospital. They're doing their investigation and stuff. He hears some like police chatter and understands there was possibly some shots on the roof, and he runs up there and he actually finds Daredevil and is able to get him back to his apartment. Which is really
he had to like deduce it to find where Matt is, right? He had to find out who he was.
He hears the location of the shots on the roof and then goes in a bunch of buildings, like buzzing people and acting like he's a tenant and getting them to open the door so he can run up to the roof and look for Matt.
Yep.
Yeah, because he knows Matt was in this vicinity because Matt told him last night, I'm going to go basically patrol or hunt, whatever. So like he knows Matt's in the vicinity. And he's like, where is he? He didn't come home last night. He didn't call me this morning. Something must have happened. So, because last time, he found him in a dumpster. Rosario Dawson found him in a dumpster. He, found him falling through himself through the window of his house. So Foggy now knows how to operate and look for him, and he found him.
Yeah. And then they basically, like, when he gets him back to after the cold open, it comes back to them in the in Murdock's apartment. Mm-hmm. And it reminiscent of the first time, like you just said, whenever like Foggy was able to come in there and like notice, he passed out on the floor because they had the sort of like not the exact same discussion, obviously, but sort of the same, right? Like where he's like, yo, man, you got to take care of yourself. You can't be going out here doing this. Like you're going to die. I don't want to lose my friend kind of situation. And they're discussing that, talking about it, and like obviously he's like talking about him being like shot in the head, like bro, you got like serious injuries and all that good stuff. So we have a discussion with them after he finds Daredevil and is able to get him home, and like we get the hints of Daredevil like possibly having issues. Yeah,
because he can't really hear stuff. They did that very well. Where I think. I don't know if this was like, when he's getting medicine and he's getting medicine.
Yeah, that comes up in a second. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like getting his medicine, his aspirin, and he can't really, he's a little foggy, no pun intended for foggy. And then he can't really process what's going on.
I mean, he even gets scared because he's like sitting up against the wall, like at one point, you know what I'm saying, with his back to the wall, and he kind of slides down to a sitting position, and
he doesn't hear the glass break in the water. Yeah, he doesn't. He knocks over the glass.
Himself snapping.
Yep. He's freaking out, and you know what? I would be freaking out too, because you lose your hearing and you can't see, and then you lose your hearing. You're kind of in a vulnerable state, and you're kind of like just incapacitated.
All right, so we do go to Foggy and Karen. Now they're actually still working with the guy that was able to get away. They're talking to the police and everything else. Now they can talk to the police to a certain point because of the fact that they're representing this guy now, and they're trying to basically get him in the witness protection. But then like the DA, I think it is, shows up, and they're like, yo, we got some issues going down. He's going to have to do something for us to be able to get into that. I thought the DA was pretty cool. She was pretty hard-nosed and everything else.
Reyes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I thought her coming into the situation kind of makes it kind of cool, but and it doesn't seem like she's bad. She's just like, hey, we need this information, and we need him to get it before we can just give him like a way to get
immunity.
Out.
Yeah,
you ain't getting immunity easy. Basically, is what comes up, and like, you're going to help us take down this other person, and he's like, no, I'll probably die from it, and all this kind of BS. Kind of almost feel sorry for the guy at this point. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, that would be one of Ferris's favorite scenes in the show because it reminds me of basically a procedure.
Yes, Law and Order.
She was from Law and Order too. That actress.
Yeah. Well, also too, fun fact that her assistant DA is actually the DA that's predominantly in the comic books. DA Tower. You can he's in all the Daredevil comics. He's in the Luke Cage. He's in the Iron Fist, the Defenders, Jessica Jones, in that street level comics, of that ilk. He's the DA like of Manhattan. He's the guy in the comic book. So like they introduce him as the right hand man to the main DA, and then I think I think he becomes the DA either in season. Oh, sorry. I don't
Yeah,
want to
look at
spoil
this
it.
guy.
I don't want
Look
to spoil
at
it. My
this
bad.
guy. No, I mean it's not a big deal because it's obviously been out for a while. So,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
like he becomes the DA in I think either season 2 of Jessica Jones or season 3 of Daredevil or because yeah, one of them because he's the DA at one point. If you read the comics.
right, gotcha. Anything else on that particular section?
I like how hard nosed Reyes was, and how Foggy sort of like turned it all around on her,
Mm-hmm.
and was like, "We're gonna stand up for our client, and you're, doing things that you have no say over, like with the witness protection program, which is done by the feds, and she's not one of the feds." And I liked how Foggy turned that around on him, and Karen seemed as, impressed, and she should have been, because that was great.
Shout out to my boy Foggy Nelson, man.
Ain't gonna
Man,
lie.
hey man. Yeah, he got some aura, that Foggy Nelson.
Hmm.
Not gonna lie, this is probably not gonna be the favorite scene of others, but this is so far in season 2. This is my favorite scene coming up, and that's where we see a crackhead out here trying to get some money, look like may have stole a purse or something like that, and there's a pawn dealer and whatever. He sees Punisher come into the store, and because of how he looks like he means business. He doesn't know him personally, but this guy comes in, and he just gives that dude some money to take the purse or whatever, so he can sell the goods, and then he has a discussion with the Punisher. Now, this is another cool scene to me because the Punisher knows this guy's shady, but like he's not trying to just go kill him because he ain't about just killing people that are a little shady, maybe
Mm-hmm.
doing dealings that are not the best,
Selling,
but he ain't about
selling
just going
guns, all that.
whatever. Like, right? He doesn't look at them as like, oh, this guy deserves to be taken out situation. So he's trying to buy some police equipment so that he can hear about the things that are going down in the area,
Mm-hmm.
and he's leaving, right? Like, and that's kind of a cool little note. But the thing that makes it the best scene is that idiot keeps babbling on, and for some reason pulls
Oh
out like
God.
porn crap, and he starts naming off certain things, and then he
Well, the
gets
first two were fine.
yeah,
First
yeah.
two, were
Like,
fine.
hey man, you like big gazungas, you know what I'm saying? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then he says a weird one that's like grannies or something like that, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's kind of weird, but
To
okay,
each is
not
their
not
own, but still,
not yeah, not across the line. Whatever
yeah.
you like the old ladies, whatever. It don't matter. I mean,
Shout,
weird,
shout,
but
shout,
not
to,
bad.
shout to the ladies.
Yeah. And then he says something about a 12-year-old,
Oh, then that's
She's only 12. She says, yeah.
bro. And I said this while we were watching it because some of us were watching this episode together, and I was
kill
like,
him.
"What a dumbass!" No, at first I said this guy's an idiot because if he would have just kept his mouth shut, he's good. But when he got to that certain thing, that was the line to be drawn by the Punisher, and he just walks
Hmm.
casually up to the door, turns that
Locks it.
open sign to close, locks it, and grabs a baseball bat that's just hanging up there on the wall as he walks by, and we
Beats him
all
to death.
know it. We
Beats
don't
him to
see it.
death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't see it, but we know what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And nah, man, like this is the reason why I kind of like Punisher, like to a certain point more than Daredevil, because I believe when it gets to that level,
You murder them.
yeah,
You
take
murder
him
them.
out, take him,
You damn right you murder them.
or don't send his ass to prison. Like,
Yeah,
just
no.
Yeah,
You,
Yeah.
Daredevil would have beat him up and then said, "Turn yourself in."
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, some bull crap, or dropped him off at the front door of the police or something. But it's like, nah, man.
His Catholic guilt would have gotten him. You know what I mean?
This is why like I'm okay with a Punisher crew being around out there. But this is the problem, right? Like, so in the real world, this wouldn't necessarily work because you would have to trust that person to always have the right information, basically be perfect on what they're doing and what they know. The situation is in real life, that's probably not going to happen. So they're going to be like an innocent person that would be taken out just because this one person got the wrong information or something like that. So that's why we don't need these in real life. But in make believe comic book world, they're badasses because you can make him to where that he's pretty much perfect, like right where he's always going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, but yeah,
This scene is really good because it shows that Punisher has, principles, lines that are crossed before he does something like that. Because he's in there to get the police equipment from the guy, and he's paying him money. And every time he asks for something, he pays him more money. And that's why that guy is stupid and keeps talking, because he wants more money out of this guy that obviously just paid him a lot of money for
A
the stuff that he's
lot.
leaving with. And so the guy says something incredibly stupid and horrifying about a 12-year-old, and he's like, "That's the line. So I'm gonna close this. You're closed now, and that's it." And like, I have no problem with him murdering that guy. Absolutely no problem.
Mhm.
yeah. But like I said, if you could always guarantee this person was like, I would almost give some fault, like right. So like, uh, but if they could be like 96, 90% of the time right, I'm behind them, right?
Mhm.
It's like, but what percentage of them being wrong would you be okay with? I'd be okay with somebody out there doing the thing that could be at least 95% right, because most of the time what he's doing, he's gonna if he took out somebody that was technically not super horrible, they're probably going to be bad in a way because they're probably doing something, but maybe not deserve death, and that would be the thing that you're afraid of, right? Because most of these cats
Yeah.
he's going after, they're not innocent, right? And then we get to see that later on as the show goes and stuff like that. But I actually think this is a great portrayal of Punisher. And then we get I thought, a pretty good and neatest scene where we get like a little bit of an interaction with Foggy and Karen, but then Karen goes over to Murdock's and she meets him and she sees like the broken glass and stuff. She thinks because of what Foggy has said to her before that Matt's got a drinking problem. So she's assuming that's like vodka or something and not water that's on the floor and all this stuff. And like, so she's trying to help him or asking him to be honest with her and everything. He doesn't really know where, well, I guess maybe he does know a little bit, but like, he doesn't want to tell her the full truth that he's Daredevil, and that's why he always has these things. So he's stuck like in a bad situation.
I
Like he
like
leave,
how, I was like, yeah, I got a drinking problem.
he's got a drinking problem.
They just keep making him something worse. Like, oh yeah, he- he's just kind of like, got a drinking problem. He has issues. He's blind.
He has IBS.
Yeah,
He has IBS. It's always something worse. It's always something worse. So yeah, I think he may have a drinking problem. And she's like, I'm trying to save my friend, and my friend's like, and doesn't want my help. When he's like, I don't need your help really, but we're all just lying to you. I don't need to go to AA.
yeah. My thing, and this is fine because like she's gonna trust Foggy and stuff, and maybe she doesn't look really hard into it and everything else. But my thing would be is like, they spend an okay amount of time around each other. Like if you have a friend with a drinking problem, you're going to notice like even more things. Like
Yeah.
I would be confused if I was her because like all the time, like that's an actual alcoholic. Like you're going to know. You might know it, not know it just by visiting them or meeting them a couple of times. But as much as they hang out and he's got to work and stuff, it'd be like, man, I think this is a little shady, man. I don't think his ass is really an alcoholic. But
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Karen says to him in that scene. When you're ready to tell me what's really going on,
right.
I'm here. Because I think she knows it's not a drinking problem.
Like someone's
Yeah, and it's
lying
She
like
here.
I
knows what
told
it
you.
is.
Well, it's like I told you at the end of episode or season one. I thought there was a connection there where it doesn't tell you that she knows, but I think she like it thinks that she knows, right? Like I don't think she knows 100%. She's not willing to come out and be like, "Ha, I've got you." I know who you really are, and she wants to keep that relationship and friendship, so she's not going to do that until she truly 100% knows it. Like it's got hard, concrete evidence for it. But I think that she has a hint that he might be Daredevil.
Maybe. But I
Yeah.
also think she just likes him.
True,
Like Brandi and I
a
said,
lot.
we thought that scene was. Yeah.
Like I say, maybe a lot, especially with the
Yeah.
pool thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hands kind of grazed each other a little bit
Mm-hmm.
caressingly, all that good stuff. So then we have Daredevil showing up to the guy who made his suit, and they have a discussion there. And he's like, "Hey, man, can you fix this?" He's like, "It'd take me a little bit longer, but I can at least make it to where I can fix the crack or whatever in there, but it's not going to be as stable as it was before.
He has to make him a whole new one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to take a couple days. So he does what he can that night. Melvin Potter is a very interesting character to make that suit. And I'm glad he's back. And it continues to like deal with Daredevil, even though Fisk is gone. And I like how part of this is Matt staying like in the shadow so Melvin can't really see his face.
Yep.
And I also like that Melvin's still worried about Betsy.
You know,
Protecting Betsy.
can we point out how, like, you know, a great show even makes the auxiliary characters really cool and fulfilling? Because shout out to Melvin Potter, but also like shout out to Brett Mahoney, like Officer Mahoney. Like he's I love him as well. So like him and Melvin are damn good. And then yeah, what I like about Melvin is like how he's like he's basically telling like I'm not gonna like just put some duct tape on it and fix it for you. I have to make you a new one. I'm gonna make you a new one. I have to make you a new one. And,
yeah.
Because he doesn't cheat his craft. Because he doesn't.
You bring up a good point. There's a difference between a show that's like borderline good, had the opportunity to be great, but it really doesn't get there, or at least interest you when there's like a big plot in the show that you're really interested in. But the thing that can hold it back is the fact that everything surrounding it's not that great. But when you get a show like you're saying, where the main driving point is super interesting, mixed in with all the other characters being at least interesting to where you're not like, oh, it's time for me to go take a dump whenever they come on screen. That makes the show that's what makes the great shows. When you're interested in almost all the other subplots, all the other little like side quests that goes on, and you're still find yourself interested and you don't want to turn off or look away or look at your phone. That's what makes the show great. And like I would consider so far watching the show, it's a great show. It's not my favorite one of all time, but it's definitely a great show.
I was just gonna say I really liked how he said, "I told Betsy I won't do anything illegal anymore," and Matt said, "Well, I'm not a criminal," and he was like, "Well, if you say so," He was like,
"Yeah,
if that's
why you need this if you ain't like bad or whatever." But it's like, to me though, like he knows. That is one of the things, like he should know, because he's the one that made the suit. And unless he just doesn't look at news or anything, like there's no way that he couldn't know that he's actually Daredevil.
No, he knows he's Daredevil. He doesn't know he's Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So he knows Daredevil. He just, you're right about that. But he knows he made the suit for Daredevil. He knows this guy, because he's getting his suit repaired, is Daredevil. He just doesn't know, like you say, he doesn't see the face. That's why you were talking about earlier, like him hiding his face and being in the shadows so he couldn't see.
He's got his hood up. He's in the shadows.
Yeah, he keeps moving around, and he keeps trying to cover his face with his black hoodie. So yeah.
Well, we move on to a scene that's got the I'm thinking it's the same biker gang. It might be a different one because maybe they have more than one biker, but I think it's the same biker gang. They stole a semi. They are emptying the trailer, and they bring in the actual semi part of it into basically a chop shop. We got one guy that starts cleaning it off with a pressure hose. We also got Murdock finds Punisher's lair basically during the same time. And we also have our guy being sent off to what we don't know but we do find out is a trap. Like all of those kind of run together like in the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Dogs of hell. Yeah.
Yep. And so we have all that. Y'all got anything to pick out from those particular spots?
I like the way that this is all like interspersed together. It's not just like the Punisher stuff and then the Matt in Punisher's space stuff and then the trap. It's all like meshed together, and I think they blended it all really well.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, man.
And the DA hid the fact that they were setting a trap up from fogging them.
And he talked about how he's gonna sue them through oblivion, and how they were led astray, like a true lawyer. And then but
well, go ahead.
No, it's not. But during the trap, then Daredevil shows up and they fight on the roof, and I like that about, and I like how the cops are just shooting at both of them because they're like, we don't care, kill one, we don't care, just kill them. You know what I mean?
I like how cops here, it kind of threw me for a loop for just a second, right? Because the cop throws him in there, and you're like, oh shit, like these are just bad cops again, because we dealt with that with the first season. I do like the fact these technically aren't bad cops. They might be doing something you think is non-ethical, like by setting this guy up to be the trap, for actually trying to catch the
something
Punisher.
cops do all the time.
Right. But with that being said, that doesn't make them bad, right? That just makes them like, man, this is a little questionable.
They're not in someone's pocket like they were.
Yeah, exactly. So,
in season 1. Yeah.
They're trying to catch like the Punisher and stuff like that, which brings the Punisher out. It does actually work a little bit, but he kind of know it was a trap. Like the Punisher ain't dealing with that shit, boy. He's on top of the water tower, and he starts like waiting around to do the thing. He starts getting shot at. Then Daredevil shows up around that time as well, and they get in another pretty damn good fight so far between them two that I found myself really intrigued and interested in, because none of them really seems to be getting the better of the other two. They're both beating each other's ass and everything else. Foggy tries to go out there and help out the guy because he's like, you lied to us. This is not, this wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we have the scene at the very end that ends the episode where Punisher and Daredevil both go through like a glass roof again.
Yeah.
Not again with them, but we've seen glass roofs being breaking Daredevil so far. This time it happens, they fall through. And by the time the cops and stuff get there, they're gone, but you can see where there's blood. Foggy's obviously worried about his friend because obviously he knows. And that's how the episode ends. Matter of fact, the reason why I kind of jumped the shark a second ago and went a little too far was because when we got through with this episode, I forgot to close out the actual player, and the next episode started automatically playing on me for a second. And
that was good.
So I've actually seen a little bit of episode 3.
Episode 3 is good.
So that's how I knew that. Like, so I basically kind of
you cheated.
knew. Well, yeah, it wasn't on purpose, but yeah, I kind of.
But it was good. It was good though, because episode 3 is good.
I was hearing something in the background, and I clicked over there, and it was good enough that I couldn't just stop it immediately.
Yeah.
Sat there for a couple of minutes, but that's how I know Daredevil was like chained up. He's not like killed by the Punisher and everything else.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I really like in this scene that when Punisher's on top of the water tower and all the cops are looking for him and everything, he doesn't start shooting at the cops. That's another way to show that he's principled about who he kills. He's just trying to get a shot on Grotto.
Yeah,
that's what he's up there to do. And so I like that because so many times in shows where there's things like this, you got the guy up there and he starts shooting at the cops because that's what the bad guy does. He's not really the bad guy here. And I like the fight between Daredevil and Punisher, and I love Foggy's worry for Matt and how he just got finished telling Karen she couldn't go out there to help Grotto, who has escaped. Grotto runs off.
Yeah, he's gone.
But once Foggy realizes that Matt is there, he books it out there. I don't know what Foggy thought he was going to do, but he had to make sure they didn't kill Matt. And now he doesn't know that Matt has survived that fall through the glass roof.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because I don't know how the cops really see Daredevil. I do think some of them knows that he's like helping them out and everything, but I don't know at what level do they trust Daredevil, the back and forth or whatever. So the cops may have just shot. The cops would have possibly shot him, because they don't know if he's 100% good or bad.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's a vigilante.
Yeah.
And that's not going about things in the way of the law, which is what the cops are supposed to be doing. And so, I totally think that if a cop had a shot on Daredevil in that fight, they would have taken it. Same as they're trying to kill Punisher, but they wouldn't have cared if they took Daredevil out too, because that's another vigilante off the streets.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Because Matt, it's assault charges, assault with deadly weapons, assault with bodily harm. Those are like 5 to 10 year sentences in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and there's a really, when Foggy's at his apartment earlier in the episode, Foggy says to him, have you ever thought about what will happen to me and the firm if you get found out? You'll be disbarred, you'll go to prison probably, and then everything will fall apart. Yeah, and they won't believe me if I say I didn't know.
Yep.
They won't.
True that. No. But all right, guys, let's go around. Last final thoughts about the first 2 episodes of season 2. Go ahead and give yourself a grade or a score, however you want to do it. We'll start with you, Adelia.
Season 2 is my favorite. Episode 3 is my favorite of season 2, so I'm really excited to watch more of this with you guys. But the first 2 episodes set the table for this season so well, and I think they executed them almost flawlessly. Couple of minor things to nitpick here and there for me, but I'd give these episodes a 9. I'm super excited to watch this season again, and happy to share this with you guys.
I agree.
Nice.
9.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I give them both. Well, I'd say 8.5 for the first episode and a 9
Swear
for
to
the
God,
second
Matt. Swear to God.
Well, he got him. He got him right there. Matt, I mean, Ferris.
I'm gonna go with the 9 overall. 9.
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm gonna go a little bit lower.
Oh, here it goes,
Yeah, a
Mr.
little bit lower.
Complaining. You
I'm
don't
a,
like
no,
anything.
I'm
Justin
going.
has the craziest bell curve because he seems to think that like an 8 point something is an A minus, and like that would have been like a B minus in school.
Yeah, well, it's just how I do things. Like if I'm telling people and it's like, hey man, give me a letter grade because I'm about to do it now, and then like base that to a number, it's just based on my 1 to 10
Just give us the
scale.
number, man.
That's where it would fit at, right? So like
Yeah,
I'm giving it
crazy
an
bell
8.
curve.
I'm giving it an 8 around that A minus B plus area right there, just straight up 8. Just because of the fact that like there are a couple of little things that I can see you could try to be a little nitpicky on. It's not 100% tight, but it's still like really good and entertaining. I'm still digging it. And like I said, so far that episode 2 would have been rated higher than episode 1 because it's got like my favorite scene so far in Daredevil. But the funny part is it doesn't even involve Daredevil. Technically, it involves Punisher. I really do think they picked the right guy at the right time and place to play Punisher. So
Yeah,
far,
John Bernthal kills it as Punisher in this season.
He's
I'm
he's
so
amazing.
excited he's coming back for Born Again.
He's amazing.
Nice. Oh, he's coming back, right?
He's in
So
Born Again. He's in the trailer.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. All right,
Yeah.
cool. That's good to find out. So,
Amen. Like, shout out to Jeff Loeb and whoever did the casting because they really hit it out of the park. Well, not all, well. They missed on one of them, but they hit it out of the park on Jessica Jones. Kristen Ritter was really damn good in that.
Oh, she's so good as Jessica
Yeah,
Jones. I want her to come back too.
Yeah, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox hit it out of the park. Frank Castle hit it out of the park. Luke
Mike
Cage
Coulter as Luke Cage is really
hit it
good
out of
too.
the park.
They totally missed on Iron Fist.
Yeah,
but
like no,
all the rest of the casting for the Netflix Defenders universe was really good.
Yeah, even the villains they're pretty good. You know, Wilson Fisk. I did not know when Vincent D'Onofrio. I didn't know he was a good villain because I did watch him in season 1 of the show called Godfather of Harlem, where he played a mobster, like a real life mobster, and Forrest Whitaker played Bumpy Johnson. But seeing him as Wilson Fisk, like the layers of torment, but he's also like you see he's tormented and you see he's mentally broken, but you're still a bad guy.
right. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that like he did such a good job in season 1 that I'm going to be honest with you, like the Punisher thing and them bringing him in on the second season here, because I'm pretty sure Fisk isn't done, but bringing Punisher in has made it to where I don't find myself really missing Fisk, but I don't. But if they wouldn't have done that, if that wouldn't have been the choice they made, and it would have been Daredevil just going after some bad guys, I might would have started falling off. I don't know, but because I would have been like, dude, there's no way they're going to be able to like keep this show going this good without Fisk. But like I said, Punisher was like the perfect timing. Like bring him in. They didn't wait a couple of episodes. They brought him in that first episode, and then like had him do a couple of things in that second episode, so there wasn't like this long wait for it. And Punisher's a interesting enough character that you're like, okay, cool, I'm hooked for season 2. Because I think they would have ran into some trouble in season 2 if they wouldn't have not have made that choice if they would have went a different route.
Yeah, they changed showrunners for this season. There actually is a different showrunner for every season of Daredevil. This season was done by Doug Petrie and Marco Ramirez, and I think they made some really great choices with how to continue the stories from the first season, continue the tone most especially because that's really important, and further things along for the Defenders, which is coming up after this season. So,
Yep. All right. With that being said, guys, I hope y'all all have a very good time. Guess what? I just realized we forgot the ticker again. You know what I'm
Damn it.
saying? So, but you know what? We got cool tools to let us know when we screw up, and then
Yeah.
every now and then when Ferris says something good. But with that being said, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out, obviously, like any other YouTube channel. Put some comments down there how you liked and.
Are you playing around now?
My hand's over here now.
Sorry.
My mouse hand's like right here in the camera.
That was
Anyway,
me. That was me.
no,
Ferris.
but the biggest deal is but yeah, like put some comments down there. Let us know how you like the show. Not even particularly this show. You can if you want, but also like tell us what you thought about Daredevil if you're watching this, and get some interaction there. I like to see the comments on like, oh, what did you think about the Punisher's portrayal or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and join the grab that cup of coffee, join the coffee, however it said, account, and you can also join our Discord. It doesn't cost anything. Just over there, be in a community that likes some of these things, and we do shows like the post credits. We do Hambone to the movies when I get a chance to go out and see the movie in the movie theaters. Also do reviews on random movies that I see there. We got couples therapy. We got a decent amount of shows here where we do things in a little bit of a different way, look at things in a little bit of a different way. And over on the Twitch, we do some stuff there. Like we just got through doing a watch along to the Super Bowl on the sports side of things. But we also do things on Twitch here. Like I've been covering basketball, but when I do, I actually talk about some of the movie news during the breaks and TV timeouts and halftime and everything else that we make to videos for the YouTube channels. So go and do all those things and everything.
Link to the Discord in the description. Join
Yep.
us in there. We're trying to get more people in there, get some conversations going. So check it out.
Yeah, it may even give us ideas for other things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that being said, guys, until next time, peace. There you go, Ferris. There you go.